But I came a little later to the game. I picked up my first camera when I was 28 years old, which I know most DPs by that time have their careers firmly set. Because previous to that, I was an optometrist and I practiced for a couple of years checking eyes. And then I picked up a camera and I just fell in love with it. And one silly opportunity after another. And we're here today shooting commercials and short films and music videos. And I love it. I love it. As said in the intro, no looking back. It's the best.
And most importantly, on our podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you a question there. In terms of, I guess your optometry background, do you find that it helped you in any way to kind of go from that to cinematography? Do you find there's anything that's any similarities or kind of anything in general that has helped you from kind of moving from optometry to cinematography?
Probably nothing like technically from optometry, just because like people always make the joke that's like, well, they use lenses in optometry. I'm like, yeah, it's not really. They don't really cross over one to one. But the thing that I think helped me the most with that profession was you really have to learn how to communicate with people as you have new patients every time. You have to learn how to speak to each individual patient on how like to get the best medication, the best diagnostics, like how to treat them the best. And I have found that in the film industry, as you kind of climb up the ranks, cinematography becomes much more of communicating your ideas through your keys. And it's less of like running around, moving the light stands and being like, no, it's like you really it's a game of communication, dealing with the art department, a first AD in terms of scheduling, talking to a director in terms of like what do they want it to look like, the pacing, how they picture the edit. And it just comes down to like hearing people's ideas and giving back your own. So I think it was a great profession to get communication ironed out, which is essentially what this job is at the end of the day.
Oh, if I had known that going in, I might have picked a different profession. No, that's very, very true. I mean, I feel like going in, you just think, all right, I'll just get to make cool videos or, shoot cool stuff and tell stories. And, at the end of the day, what it really is just, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of network. You have to know the right people. You have to be able
100%.
to communicate your vision, to be able to listen and take in what other people want. I think listening is an underrated skill. It's one thing to just have it go in one ear and out the other, but yeah, no, I totally agree.
What about like I mean, in the cinema world, there's so many things that you can do, right? You can be a director, DP, AC, just like so many departments that you can kind of go into. Why specifically cinematography is the one thing that you chose?
I mean, I just kind of fell into it. Like when I started, I was a one-man band. I had my own quote unquote production company, which was just me and a laptop. And like I would shoot small music videos and get local clients like law firms, coffee shops. Like you have it. We're talking like under $5,000 budgets. And they're like, we need a commercial. And you do your best. And you're like, okay, that didn't turn out so bad. And then just other directors around Ontario would see the work and they'd be like, "Oh, the cinematography is really great in these. None of the other aspects were good, but but they would be like, "Would you like to come shoot my commercial for such and such?" And I would be like, "Sure." So I actually learned that dynamic on the fly, on the job. Like I didn't go into the film industry knowing the hierarchy of this position does this, you have to answer to this department. Like it, from learning how to interact with the director and then how to interact with a production company and then how to interact with an agency, like these have all been learning curves for me. Like I remember the first time I was on a shoot that the agency was like, it's too dark. And I looked at the director and I was like, who's this guy? I was like, because I always thought that like I answered to the director. So like this other person was like giving a note. The director's like, that's the person like splitting the bill. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like you learn how to like communicate differently with like how it like I communicate with my keys a lot differently than if I communicate. Like I always think of the DP as like you are right in the middle of the production. You are the bridge between the higher ups and like the keys and all the people that do the lighting, the art. Like you are literally the conduit with the director between like, okay, we got to listen to their silly notes about like how they want the thing to look, and then I have to convey how my twist on that through the people working for like camera, lighting, art, all those departments. So you are really like the middle, right in between, and it's a funny place to be because you at the end of the day, you get to decide how it looks, but you have to listen to sometimes 10, 15 people on set give you completely different notes. And sometimes you take them, and other times you just kind of roll your eyes. And you're like, okay, yeah, it's too dark. It's always too dark. But, once they see it in the edit with the music and the sound design and the voiceover, it's like the mood lightens a lot and it comes together as a whole.